Welcome to Third Shot Podcast. We've got another great episode in store for you. But before we get into it, please go to Instagram, our website, YouTube, and Facebook at Third Shot Podcast and find us, follow us, listen to us. You can also go on X and find us at Third Shot Pod, and you can comment on our stuff, tweet. I never know if it's a tweeting or Xing, but go there, find us, leave us a message. We love to hear what you all have to say. And today we are going to do a toast because we have a stranger joining us. And that stranger is our producer, Russ.
Hey, I'm back.
Cheers for coming back to us.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, Rush Shot, right there.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
Missed it.
I've been in hiding, the whole FBI thing that happened. No.
Well, I can actually see you. You're not blurred out or anything.
Right.
Are you in danger right now?
No. The witness protection program has got me. We're all good. I'm safe to do video again.
We should play the game. Where in the world is Russ?
Exactly. It's funny that you say that because so a few years ago, I went to this party at somebody's house, and I was doing laundry at home. This was when my wife was like working on the weekends. She was doing real estate and stuff and busy on the weekends. I had laundry going, and I knew that if I let it sit there, it's going to get, like when you let wet laundry sit there, it just doesn't come out fresh smelling. It's like,
Yeah.
So this house was like 5-minute walk away. So I decided I'm going to walk home real quick, do the laundry thing. And then I take the laundry out and the party's going on. Take the laundry out and I put it in the dryer, and there was stuff in the dryer. So I'm like, well, I better fold that because it's going to get all wrinkled. So I fold the clothes. I do all this stuff. And then, we had like the bedspread. So I'm like, okay, let me go put that in. So I did all this stuff. Took about, I don't know, I was gone for like a half an hour. But apparently I was gone during a key part of the party. And everybody was walking around saying, where's Russ? So it became a thing. And then fast forward years later, there was this improv class that was on Tuesday nights. And we do a lot of our recording on Tuesday nights. So I wasn't able to make it to these Tuesday night classes. So I was just like, I can't do it. I'll try to do it next week. And then, you book something and then, okay, well, next week I'll try to do it again. And I just never got there. So they actually were naming their improv group, Where's Russ? as the possible name for the group, which was pretty funny. So I actually ended up showing up to that group. And I went to Canva and I had a shirt printed that says, Where's Russ? And
I love it.
I should have worn that for this episode, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you still have it? Because that would be perfect.
It would have been. I clearly am still not planning well.
Well, Russ, you mentioned improv. You kind of have a different role in improv now.
Yeah. So I'm doing, some like teaching of improv. I'm doing, all kinds of fun stuff, doing some show type stuff, like a little things here and there. I'm not going to get too far into it as I was before, just because I don't have the time. But doing that. I'm actually going to be hosting trivia nights at bars just because I enjoy doing that. And that sounds like it's going to be fun. It takes me back to my old DJ days. So there's all these kind of like weird, wild things that are happening. Really, I think what it is my, kids are going to be heading off to college soon. So it's like, I got to find hobbies for myself. So I'm just auditioning hobbies.
You're auditioning them?
Auditioning hobbies. Then we'll see what sticks.
Well, my only request on improv is I would love for you to do a pickleball skit.
Oh, that would be good.
I think that would be hilarious, right? Do a mixed doubles pickleball skit.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, that would be a good setup because, lots of motion. You're at a pickleball court. What's going to happen in the improv game? There's so many crazy things that you see, right? I mean,
you can get 4 people doing it together. You could probably have a ref, right? You could probably have a ref, get 5 people in there. That would be fun.
Oh yeah, totally.
Can you record it for us?
Sure. We'll make that happen.
You guys, actually, that's a good question. I've never asked this. Do you guys ever record your practice? You never record.
I mean, it just goes. It happens. It goes. And it's like it's done. It's you sort of. I sort of like that. Like it's just disappears. You do something wrong, it's like gone. Who cares? So you take a little bit more risk with things when you're doing that. When you just know it's gonna go away.
Is there any profanity rules?
Um, uh, yeah, only 4 f-bombs per minute max. No,
Oh,
no,
nice. Nice.
there
Okay.
isn't. There isn't. No, it's but it depends on the group and who you're with and what they're comfortable with and what the audience is. I mean, if you've got kids showing up in the audience, all of a sudden you gotta remove certain words from your vocabulary or replace them. Yeah.
So this is done live in front of an audience. People pay to go watch.
Well, they pay to get out actually. It's free to come in. No, it's yeah, it's we've done that a few times. I did that for I don't know, a good solid what I don't even remember what 3 or 4 years.
Years, yeah.
Like monthly shows and stuff
Yeah.
like that I was doing, and then I kind of pulled back on that with there was a little thing that stopped live shows. I forget what that was called. Something in 2020. So we stopped doing that, and then I sort of just pulled away from improv just because, again, just time figuring things out. And then now I'm doing a little bit of that. I'm not going to be doing much, so it'll just be here and there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, I
You're
have a
teaching.
good trivia question that you can incorporate.
Okay, what is that?
What is the best pickleball podcast title?
The Third Shot.
You got it.
Well, that's too easy though. Everybody knows that, Bridgie.
Exactly.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Challenge them a little.
Well, everybody should know that. I don't know if everybody does know that. But
When was Third Shot established?
Ooh, there you go.
Ooh.
Who was the first guest?
Ooh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, these are answers that I'm not even sure.
Who was the first? Oh, I do know the first guest.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It was Kevin from Diadem.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Diadem Kev.
Yep. Diadem. Is it Diadem Kev? That's what it is.
I think that's what he said.
Yeah, that's what he's going with now. Yeah, I love it. So
Nice.
I ran across a little news item that it kind of cracked me up, but it makes sense. So I ran across a news item that President Biden is doing fundraisers in the East Coast for the elderly at pickleball. They're basically pickleball tournaments. He's throwing them as a kind of a fundraiser and also kind of get people to come out and vote, right? He wants more of the elderly to vote this primary, or actually this election, because he feels he has an advantage with that demographic. And I thought, is that genius or not? I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can see, I think, both sides of the fence on this one.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what elderly means. Like, I don't know how old he's going with, but it's the middle of summer, right? And he's bringing all these elderly out, playing pickleball, trying to rally them up. If anything happens, this is going to be bad press.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
I didn't even think about that side of it. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it plays out, to see if it's going to be successful or not so successful. Yeah. I'm waiting for it already.
I'm totally taking a completely different angle on this. Is Biden going to be there?
I don't know if he's actually going to be. I think there's going to be a number of them. It's not just one. I think he's doing them in multiple states.
The question for me is security, right? I mean, think about all the equipment that you have when you take to pickleball. They're going to have those things. You're going to have to go through and do the whole airport line basically at the pickleball court just to get in there to go see this. I'm thinking that's going to be a pain. I don't want to go.
I know.
And there's no way that he could play. That would be too risky.
Yeah.
Right?
I would think. But, I think the whole term, getting body bagged, that might not go well.
Oh, jeez. Ouch.
fundraisers. I don't know.
Oh, we're putting up a little apology to our older
I am
listeners
sorry.
on the screen
I'm
right
not even allowed in the improv office now after that one. I apologize.
Too far.
Oh
Well, we
man,
do have a great show today, though.
We
that
So
we do.
we do. We have a couple of ladies that we've had on the show before. The two owners of Twisted Pickle, Ashlee Blakely and Suzanne Griever, are back. Speaking of one of our original shows, they weren't one of the originals, but they were early on. I think it's been over a year since they've been on the show, and their Twisted Pickle company has evolved so much. So we're excited to kind of hear what the latest news is. And as we wrangle them in, I say wrangle because they're in Texas. Well, as we wrangle them in to get them into the studio here, I just wanted to thank everybody for following us and subscribing to our show on all of the podcast platforms. We really appreciate it, whether it's Spotify or Apple or Russ. What else are we on now? We're
I don't
on
know.
YouTube.
We're everywhere.
We're all over the place.
You listen there, we're there.
We're there. And then catch us on Instagram, Third Shot Podcast, also on Facebook, on X, Third Shot Pod, and definitely check out our website and get some of our Third Shot Podcast merch at thirdshotpodcast.com. So with that, let's bring in the ladies from Twisted Pickle. We are so excited to have two of our favorite people coming back to the show. The owners of Twisted Pickle, Ashlee Blakely and Suzanne Griever. Welcome back to the show, you two.
Yay! Thank you for having us.
We're excited to be back.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we are so excited to hear about everything that's happened since the last time we got to catch up on the podcast. But before we get into it, we're going to do a little toast to Twisted Pickle.
Cheers.
Cheers, friends.
I'm doing something a little different today.
Okay.
It's a really warm day, not as warm as where you're at in Texas, but it's a warm day here in California. So my dad, I'm drinking Jack Daniels. That is my dad's favorite drink of all time.
Nice.
And what he would do is he would do 3 ice cubes
Mhm.
with his Jack Daniels. So since we're doing 3 shots today, I'm doing 1 ice cube per shot glass with my Jack.
I like it.
Pay
I like
homage
how
to
you're wrapping it
Dad.
out, Greg. Yep.
So pops, today's for you.
Nice.
Love
Nice.
it.
I like it. I had a limoncello shot, so I'll be on the ground in about 10 minutes. So I'll see you soon.
You got to stay with us for 30.
Okay, God, I'm here for it. I can
Well,
survive
yeah. So, as Uncle mentioned, we have YouTube back on our show. It's been a little over a year. The first time was back in May of last year. So, a year has passed by. Tell us all and tell us to the listeners how Twisted Pickle has evolved since the last time you were with us.
Yeah, Suzanne, take it away. I'll let you start it.
I was going to say, and then you can jump right in. So, I mean, it's been a fast and furious year for all of us. It's like that's why we appreciate coming back on because we've been following you guys since you started the podcast, and it's fun to see the pickleball community grow together. And Twisted Pickle, really over the last year, we have just really entrenched ourselves in the pickleball community. And as we've done that, we've seen where there's other business needs that have been developing. And also, Ashlee and I are learning to work together because, while we've known each other for years, it was in, the friend space and seeing each other at different things and then playing pickleball. And now, here we have this company together. So it's been a year of being curious and being flexible and us really learning to work with each other and supporting each other. And now, we've really focused in and have this business consulting company where we focus on pickleball companies, typically in their startup phases. And we use our combined, years of experience that we have to really help these people launch successfully.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the beauty to expand on what Suzanne has said is as a business owner, you both know, you niche down, you pivot, you reassess. And I think Suzanne and I are always asking each other a couple of questions, which is, how do we problem solve? How do we lessen these business owners' anxieties and, where can we be of assistance in different ways, and really almost becoming a resource center, which is one thing we were really passionate about in the beginning. And, we've all talked about the four of us together with pickleball, needing to be siloed and organized and, have some uniformity to it in all different phases of pickleball. It's been amazing for us to really hone our skills and put, her 20 plus years and my 20 plus years together and really figure out the best suit that fits us and where we've really been able to be an asset to our clients.
You said something that really sparked something in my head, is because I'm a business person, right? And you said you kind of had to learn to work together because you were
Mhm.
friends first. Russ and I worked together and became friends. So we kind of did it the reverse of the two of you. Like, what would you recommend if two people, two friends are trying to partner together? Because we see that a lot. You introduced us to Dinker's Pickleball Club. We're going to talk about them in a second. They were friends before they decided to start the company. What do you think people should talk about before diving in and being partners?
Good question.
I mean, I think you have to talk about, you have to listen to each other, I mean, it's super interesting because, yeah, it's like you have to figure out the ground rules and the rules of engagement and, how each other works and what that kind of environment they thrive in. And it's just communication is so key. And if you are not aligned with each other, you can't move the company as quickly or successfully as you would like either. And so it's just being present and being aware and adapting to the other person and learning from them. And so, I mean, it's been a great experience in that regard, in addition to as we have been flexible and adapted the company along the way. But yeah, communication and having structured discipline check-ins, I'd say is one of the biggest keys.
Yeah, I think that's one of Suzanne and I's greatest assets is we are totally aligned on writing everything down, watching for cues. I know her so much better than what I did 365 ago. And she does on my side as well. Cause like she was saying, our friendship was around, we went to the same school and we did, a lot of like collegiate, college football things in Texas. As you know, that's a really big deal. So we were navigating a storm of, okay, she's going to run the front. I'm going to run, the back of the boat, and learning how to navigate that. But also like, we have to have those check-ins. Like this gives me PTSD. We've also owned companies, but solo.
Yeah.
And so I'm only used to dealing with Ashlee and all my 10 different personalities, right? So now she's got to jump on board. And so a lot of it is being able to watch the social cues of your partner and say, okay, she needs a moment, Ashlee needs a moment, and so I think it's a totally different relationship than, like your marriage or your sister or your brother or a parent that you're having to navigate. So staying aware and staying communicative.
And niece
Yeah.
and uncle. That's
And
right.
exactly.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
you're right there.
Lots of different dynamics and relationships in the pickleball world. And then you throw business onto it. And that's a lot of kind of navigating and, like you had mentioned, learning along the way. And two people that you had put us in contact with who are also friends was Doug and Blake of the Dinkers Pickleball Club. And they were so excited to share that they have been working with the two of you on their grand opening of their facility. So, can you share with us a little bit on how that process went and tell us more about the grand opening? Because unfortunately, we could not attend it.
Yeah. Go ahead,
Ashley,
Suzanne.
I was going to say, you can jump in on this one.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we've Suzanne and I do a lot of research because that's part of the job is you have to be, a resource center whenever we're in pickleball. And we're always trying to figure out how to silo and pivot and how can we be an asset and all the things. So we started talking to them, God, Suzanne, probably at least 4 or 5 months ago and kind of found them through Facebook. And we're always trying to figure out the facilities. So we'll talk about that. I mean, in a moment, just how we've niche down our business development and operations and marketing media. And, Suzanne just would kind of always reach out and, put out a breadcrumb and we're here for you. And we found that a lot of indoor facilities and facilities in general are so focused on getting to the construction and opening the building. But as we all know, just because you build it doesn't mean they'll come. And so where we've really been able to be an asset is that 30, 60, 90 go to market plan. And one of our new, sayings now is we're passionate about getting you strong to day one and keeping you strong on day 1,000. And the focus is just always get the tangible facility open, but no one's thinking about the playbook, the operations, the customer service, the hiring. We become, therapists. And I did a video I'm sure you both saw where I'm like, have you ever heard of a professional handholder? Because that's a lot of we do a lot of therapy, and Suzanne has a life coaching degree as well. So that's a lot of it. And people just need to be heard and listened and problem solve and work these things out. So just through, again, communication and going up there and meeting them in person and kind of just dropping the Twisted Pickle nugget, once a month, they finally reached out and were like, okay, we get it. We're a couple of months away from, opening. And that was even a little bit behind the plan. So we had to shove those 90 days into about 40 and get everything ready. And so a lot of it is things, on the marketing and branding side, slogans, and they had a logo, but they didn't know what to do with it. Just because you have a logo doesn't really mean much. So we had to put a slogan together and organize them and come up with a plan and a strategy, but more importantly, execution. And so I think that's, again, where Suzanne and I's communication and organization is so huge. And we have a weekly meeting with them. We're, kind of teaching them the process of having their own check-in with each other. And so we then had to work on community involvement, because that's a big one. If you're going to have a tangible facility, you have people have to know there's eyes on the brand, that they're coming to it. So then we had to get out in the community and make friends and talk to people and get involved with chamber. And the chamber there in Denton, Texas is amazing.
Right.
And we had their largest ribbon cutting they've ever had last Friday.
Wow. That's
And
cool.
and then so Friday was the ribbon cutting, and then Saturday was the grand opening, and they had over 700 people that walked in the doors for a free day of open play pickleball. And we had beginners drills. Again, Suzanne and I like a lot of organization, so it wasn't just come in and grab a bottle of water and go play and paddle stack. We wanted some organization, so we had expo matches happening and beginners classes and intermediate drills. And I threatened all of our friends and family, so they had to come as well. And so it was an amazing day. I think by the end of it, they were both in tears. And I've never had that big of a hug from Doug that I've ever had, like from my dad, where he's completely like arms wrapped around me and he's holding my head and he's just like, I don't know where we would be without you. I'm so grateful for the both of you, and we had a podcast live streaming and, 3 different food trucks. And I mean, the team we had really worked with on customer service and engagement. And it was just, we could not really have asked for it to be any better. Suzanne, any wrap up on that? Because you know me.
I was gonna say, that covered a lot. I just would say that while we have a framework, because we are business owners ourselves, we understand that while you may have a framework, it can't be the same recipe each time. That you really have to get to know the business owners, what their vision is, what makes them different. Because, Court Wars is on in the North Texas area. It's like every other day there's new facilities opening up. And it's like, really, how do we get their identity through the brand? And it's fun, but it's hard to kind of craft that. But they definitely have a unique brand now and have gone in hard into the community of Denton and love it. We had 20 plus players and representatives from the University of North Texas football team. I'm going to recruit them all to play. They were all like 6'5" and taller. It was crazy. So, I mean, it was a fun event, and getting to see them enjoy it makes our job worthwhile.
That sounds such a good event, and good people. I think it's really nice. I could see the synergy between the 4 of you. Like, you just knowing all of you now a little bit more is just like, yeah, that's a good team. Like, you guys
it was
can
a lot of
really
fun.
complement each other really well. And I think, for a lot of companies, they don't get the branding side. They don't get the marketing side. Like,
Right.
they have a passion for pickleball. They may have some background of construction or something, but a lot of times they don't get the marketing. And I think what you brought, one of the many things that you brought, was the videography and the photography that you
Yeah.
brought to their marketing to get ready for the grand opening
Mhm.
and at the grand opening. And one of the things I really enjoyed was watching the videos that you created for that event. Like, where does that come from? I know, Ashley, you have a background in that. Are you doing the videography? Are you hiring somebody? How is that process going?
Yeah. So as a video producer in my other life,
Yeah.
parallel, it's nice because now Suzanne and I have baked that into the go-to-market plan for our clients. So we've done it for, prior, and then, speaking specifically on Dinkers is one of my passions in marketing is really telling the human story and the human connection and the friendship. And we all know everybody, loves the brand, but to know who the people are behind the brand
Yeah.
is so critical. And so we just make it part of the package. So, they get automatic whenever they sign on with us, they get automatic social media. So I run the social channels, and then we turn around and do the videography. And then I have a videographer and a photographer named Adam Fish at Fish Photography. And we've been together for 20 years. And so I'm the producer and he does that. And then so I just run everything, do all the director, and I write the scripts, and I do long interviews, and we film them kind of on Zoom, and then I have to piece everything together. And so that just gets baked into their contract right off the bat. So then I can go in and do a little bit of coaching for them to be easy on camera. And then everybody loves it after they're done. They're scared to death, and everyone's taking shots outside. And I'm like, it's really gonna be okay, I promise you. And then it's like one of their favorite things that they've gotten to do. But part of one of the passions is really making them the rock stars, so that when people do come into the facility or they get to meet somebody behind the brand, they're a little bit like, oh, I got to meet Uncle Greg and Bridgie. It's exciting. And I mean, that happens to Suzanne and I a lot now around town when we do things or travel, and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited I get to actually meet you guys. And that's part of the fun. So we just bring that to their contract right off the bat.
Yeah, I
I mean,
definitely can see how it creates like that buy-in and people are invested from the beginning because they're also following along as these facilities are
Right.
opening up. So
Right.
it does kind of gain that interest early on.
Yeah.
well, and
Absolutely.
it elevates the brand, I mean, it gives a different level of professionalism and it gives them a way to tell their story. And, we look at it as the brands that we follow and we are loyal to are the ones that we have an emotional attachment to. And so that's why, that's such an important core when we work with any of our clients.
You do like an exploratory few sessions to kind of figure out what their brand should be and what their message should be, or is it pretty apparent that they brought it to you and said, "This is our message, and we just want you to get it out there"?
I mean, yes, on both. So I was just shooting Suzanne some stuff because we had a couple of brands that are coming that are like, okay, this is help I need. And actually, Greg, the pickleball bag, Epic, that I think you and I were
Yeah.
emailing back and forth, they had contacted us. So we have a lot of people. So I don't mind doing like a kind of a quick marketing audit, but you also have to be careful with stuff like that too. And so, but then to Suzanne and I, because we are researchers on the backside. So by the time that we're either in third conversation about to sign a contract, Suzanne and I know absolutely what needs to be happening on on an obvious level with marketing and branding because it's out and about. But then we have to walk through what's your business plan and your structure. How are you going to scale? What's your risk assessment, those types of things.
That's a lot.
It's a lot.
You mentioned hand holding is one of the things, marketing is one of the things that you all offer. What other consulting services do you offer in your package for someone who may be interested in starting a business?
I mean, the great thing is we can scale up or down depending on what the client needs. It's like Dinkers is a good example since we're talking about them. They had their construction and their layout and the facility plan so well thought out and really dialed in. So we were able to really focus on, okay, what are your needs? What is your budget? Let's prioritize, and then we can go from there. my background is in business operations, hospital leadership for years. And so you get exposed to community involvement and the financial side of things and risk mitigation and all the legal
Ooh,
aspects.
all the
of having
sexy stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Ashley's like, I'm taking a drink now.
I was like, "Ooh, let me follow."
But it is stuff that, it's like the folks we work with have a passion about whatever their product is, but they may not have been exposed to all the different business risk and planning and tax management. And, we have the network of people we can hook them up with and give them counsel on. And so we can go as big or as focused as what they're needing. So business operations consulting, brand management, social media marketing, public relations, which the public relations piece is a big piece that people,
Yes.
undervalue a lot of times. So yeah, so it's been fun when you combine our backgrounds together, we can really cover the gamut of business operations.
So I'm curious, when you're gathering all those resources together, is that what happens at the kitchen cabinet? I gotta know what's the story with the kitchen cabinet?
Well,
I
you
know
have to
you
tell
feel like I
everybody.
perk up when people want to
Yeah.
talk about it because I get so excited. I'm such a nerd. And it's so funny. I love telling the backstory. A friend of mine and I were coming home from a Harry Potter exhibition world that had camped in Dallas for several months, and we were both the only two nerds that wanted to go. And I kept telling her in the car, I was like, so I just have this idea about, these businesses need their own board members, and they need to be able to go somewhere and solve problems and talk about things and obviously network. But sometimes we get so stuck. It's the beauty of Suzanne and I is that we're such different personalities and backgrounds, but we think alike at the same time. But not everybody has that. If you're a solo business owner, or maybe it's you and your wife and you've kind of been living in the same lane. So how do we bring an honorary board member to these pickleball owners? And so it's like we kept marinating on it, and I brought it to Suzanne, and so we kept kind of mulling it over, and I was just like, hey, we're just gonna have to try it. So it was a think tank I started last December. Suzanne came up with the name, which is typically how we'll go. It's like, okay, I have this idea and I'm gonna do it. And she's like, oh, okay, she has another idea. It's gonna take up more time. And I'm like, I promise it's gonna be successful, And so we had the first one in March, and it's called the Kitchen Cabinet, and it's a Texas-based pickleball brand owner membership. And it's really about a think tank and an idea generation. We meet bi-monthly. So the next one is in July. We had our second one in whatever month we're in. It was last month, or May.
Yeah.
And we have about 45 people on the list now. And now we have people that reach out about wanting to attend. And it really is an invite only, niche down. The first 30, 45 minutes, we network, and I'm just kind of buzzing around and making sure everyone's got a friend and everyone's talking. And then you get to, if you're a brand and you want to be the spotlight, you get to pay for the appetizers and, like coffee, water, tea type of thing. And that gives you 20 minutes in front of the board or the cabinet. And so you can show a video, and then each time is going to have a different theme. And last time was bring a problem, solve a problem. And so they brought their problem, and we molded around with the cabinet, and everybody got to give their feedback and idea generation. And I think it's a way for everyone to just feel some relief, and like they're all getting a hug, and we're all part of a community. And so now it just keeps kind of rolling and rolling, and now people are wanting to get involved, and I'm like, so so it's fantastic. I mean, it's something I'm super proud of. It's done really well. We already have the spotlight for July, and then we'll start again strong in the fall. And so anything else you want to add, Suzanne? I just am super proud of it. So thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, no, it's a fun part of what we're doing because, when Ashley was like, "Oh, I've got this idea," and she's talking about it, I was like, I have this vague recollection of junior high or high school history where it was like one of our presidents had like this group of informal advisors that he would go to. I was like, I know what it was called. I remembered us sitting there and I was like, It was called the kitchen cabinet because
Mhm.
it was this group of informal advisors that is so important for any business owner to have, to be able to bounce ideas off people that you trust, et cetera. And then I was like, well, how great is that name,
That's great.
It's so
considering the sport?
perfect.
It's so
Yeah.
appropriate, right? It's crazy.
And we want to be able to, if somebody calls us and says, "Hey, I need a company that does X," that, we're going directly to the owner of that business. We're supporting each other, we're cross promoting each other. And we just really want it to be a group that's supportive and builds up each other's businesses. So it's been a lot of work, and Ashley has put a lot of time and effort into it, especially, and just to see where it's evolved into is very cool.
Yeah. And so even the other day, I started doing like a little mini newsletter and I started researching the best platforms for that. So I started doing shout outs to all of us. And, so Dinker's got his shout out. We have another friends in Granbury that are opening up a facility. And Pickler McKinney came, and we know, Ryan, who's one of the owners in that one. And so just things that I know of that people stay in touch with us about. So then it's become this shout out. And then, I have another somebody that's, messaging me about, hey, do you think the cabinet could all get together and we could go up to Kansas City and go to PickleCon together? And I was like, what is happening here? And so I was like, yeah, it's a great idea. I'll throw it out there and see what the crew thinks. So
So you
Well,
get to travel. The cabinet travels.
hopefully, I mean, Suzanne, I'll be there. I don't know about everybody else, but
Yeah.
well, it sounds like such a great idea, and that you continue to build that sense of community even greater with this new initiative with the kitchen cabinet. And we can totally see how much you two have grown the business of Twisted Pickle. What's in store for the next coming year for your
Whew.
business?
Bridgie, that's like me asking you that, girl. You've had a big last 365 as
I was
well.
gonna say, she's been busy
You've
too.
been busy, Bridgie. I
we got
mean,
we got wedding plans for Bridgie. That's what
exactly.
we, right?
Absolutely. And Suzanne, I was telling them they need to come out to Nationals Part 1, whatever that all is going through in November.
Yes.
So,
Y'all have an
um,
open invitation to come to
yep,
Texas.
And we
Thank
would
you.
love
yeah.
to. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
I mean, I think for me, for the rest of 2024, and when we do the 3.0 together next year,
Mm.
I think we just, from my vision, is that Suzanne and I are just contenders in the game, and that people actually stop and are like, oh, you know what, maybe we should invite Twisted Pickle into that, because it's funny. It was one of our original talks, because our mission statement's always been, connecting pickleball to its people, and we didn't really know what shape and form that was going to come in, but it was the mission statement came very quick and very early, and we've stayed true to it, from this last year and a half. And so when I think about that, and it's really a part of that is being a resource center, and I see that going through with Kitchen Cabinet, and that people reach out, because obviously Greg and I are on social media together all the time, but it's, because that is the biggest resource center that you can be, is connecting everybody. And Suzanne and I are really good about going to all the events. We want to be a staple in the community and go to all the MLP, and, support our Dallas Flash local team that's here. And, so I think for me, it's like, it would just be great to be the contender and the resource center, especially because Dallas is such an epicenter with PPA and MLP being here. And, that's blowing up into a million different directions with, Pickleball Central and all the things. And so I think, I just want us to be contenders in the game, that people are always coming to us and going, oh, we should talk to Twisted Pickle about that.
Yeah, and I think, how, we're always prospecting, and, part of that is you never know where the next good idea or good lead or good connection is going to come from. And so I think we just continue to stay engaged and keep, we're both very analytical. And so, that's where things are moving so quickly, but we're able to dig in, make fact-based decisions, connect the right people, and just be flexible, and so it'll be exciting to see where we are, when we do this next year.
Are you looking for any types of projects? Obviously, you are very familiar with doing facilities, but product lines. What types of projects are you looking for? What types of projects you're not looking for? And will you go outside of Texas for your clients?
So we absolutely can go outside of Texas. It's we're staying pickleball focused because we think that that is a unique competitive advantage because you're not having to pay for our learning curve to get to understand the sport. If you have a pickleball product, paddle, equipment, whatever, we get it. It's like we can look at it and go, okay, we exactly, so we are going to stay pickleball focused because that is a competitive advantage, but we are not looking, to only stay in the facilities, even though, that is a sweet spot for us. We're talking to some paddle companies and some other types of brands because, that that gets us excited too. When we get to talk to a new company, it's always fun to go, oh, this is a different way to think about things. So
Yeah, and
we're,
not
we're
because we want to come up with a paddle. Let me just be really clear with
no,
that.
no,
We just want to use
we're not.
our skill set to help them
Yes.
operationalize and scale and all the things. But yeah, the facilities are great, and like Suzanne said, it's a sweet spot for us. But again, talking to a couple of brands that also want our guidance and help is nice because then we can come at it from kind of a different angle, an analytical angle, and it keeps us fresh and changing and moving and kind of pushing pickleball along as well.
That's great. So let's say we've got some great listeners out there who would love to reach out for your consulting expertise. How is the best way for them to get a hold of you?
The best way to talk to Ashlee on every 5 seconds is Instagram, which is at twisted_pickle_. We have our, Facebook page, which is Twisted Pickle. But because we're a service industry, we don't necessarily do big groupings and things, which is what, Facebook loves and events. So ours is really about, Instagram, the TikTok channel, all of those things. But our website is www.twistedpickle.world. And that really is, I've worked hard on that website this year for the little amount of space I know about putting together websites and all the things, but I think it's a really good platform to, kind of talk about what we do in its entirety. And the videos that we do on Instagram, I put on the website as well, because they are a little bit on the educational side and kind of thinking outside the box and helping people along. And then, and then it's the info@twistedpickle.world email address is always an easy one too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming back and catching us up on everything Twisted Pickle. I mean, I love the fact that, Team Twisted's back together here.
Yeah, right? Amazing first. I'm so proud of us.
Right? So thank you very much. And for everybody that's listening, thank you for joining us. Please look up Ashlee and Suzanne on whether there's their website. Again, is twistedpickle.world, which I think is so cool, by the way.
Thank you.
When you guys came up with the .world, I go, that is so perfect. And as well as on Instagram, twisted_pickle_. Don't forget the last underscore.
Yep.
So please go and contact them. If you have any ideas and you're just exploring whether you want to take the next step in creating your own company, I encourage you to talk to Twisted Pickle. They will help you in the process. And speaking of process, Bridgie and I will continue to share our journey in this pickleball crazy world that we are. And we're going to continue to share our enjoyment for the game and grow the pickleball community together. This is an example of that right now. So before we let you go, let's take a toast to the future of pickleball and Twisted Pickle. Cheers.
Cheers to you both.
And on that note, see everybody next time on Third Shot Podcast.